4 years ago, I think if anybody had predicted what would happen, they would have needed to have been immediately institutionalized. We have the hardest working, most talented, most passionate, most customer-focused group of people that certainly I've ever had the pleasure of working with. We picked books as the first best product to sell online. We have a complete toy store now. We have a complete electronics store now, even TVs. We're selling 60-inch televisions. I didn't think people would buy them online, but they do. Kindle Fire HD. We decided to go big. 16 gigabytes. Kindle Fire HD, 7-inch, 16 gigabytes. How much? What's the price for this device? All those features? $199. I'm excited to tell you that the answer is yes. Start with some of the basics. This phone is gorgeous. I can't wait for you to get your own hands on it and look at it. It's elegant and refined, uses premium materials. In Fire, it's going to be $199 with a 2-year contract. But we're making our model 32 gigabytes for the same price. You can pre-order today, and it ships July 25th.
And I am now here, very excited and proud to tell you that we have selected Blue Origin and Jeff Bezos to be our partners going forward with their very innovative and creative rocket engine technology for our future family of lift.
I think it's pretty clear it's time for a 21st century booster engine. We can build an engine today that is a 21st century engine that has great reliability, low cost of operations, and high performance. For me, space is something that I have been in love with for, since I was 5 years old. The good news is that if we move out into the solar system, for all practical purposes, we have unlimited resources. If we're out in the solar system, we can have 1 trillion humans in the solar system, which means we'd have 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins. This would be an incredible civilization. What could this future look like? Where would 1 trillion humans live? What O'Neill and his students came up with was the idea of manufactured worlds, rotated to create artificial gravity with centrifugal force. These are very large structures, miles on end, and they hold 1 million people or more each. High-speed transport, agricultural areas. These are really pleasant places to live. There'd be whole new kinds of architecture. These are ideal climates. What does the architecture even look like when it no longer has its primary purpose of shelter? We'll find out. But these are beautiful. People are going to want to live here. And they can be close to Earth so that you can return, which is important because people are going to want to return to Earth. They're not going to want to leave Earth forever.
What's a big bet that we've taken recently at Amazon?
The recent one is, it would be Project Kuiper. This is our LEO satellite constellation. This is the goal here is broadband everywhere. One of the things it does is just the way the systems work, you have equal broadband all over the surface of the Earth. Not exactly equal. It tends to be a little bit more concentrated toward the poles, unfortunately. But you end up servicing the whole world, and so it's really good. By definition, you end up accessing people who are kind of under bandwidth, rural areas, remote areas. And I think you can see going forward that access to broadband is going to be very close to being a fundamental human need. Today, we are announcing the Climate Pledge. The Climate Pledge is to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement 10 years early. Amazon becomes the first signatory to the Climate Pledge. Where are we today? Today, we're at 40% renewable energy. We've done that by building 15 utility-scale solar and wind farms. We've put rooftop installations on fulfillment centers and sortation centers around the world. Where are we going? Well, on renewable energy, By 2024, we're committing to be at 80% renewable energy, and by 2030, we're committing to be at 100% renewable energy.
Do category managers have access to non-public data about third-party products and businesses?
Here's what I can tell you. We do have certain safeguards in place. We train people on the policy. We expect people to follow that policy the same way we would any other. It's a voluntary policy. As far as I'm aware, no other retailer limits their use of data at all.
There's no
And then I
actual
think we have-
enforcement. There's no actual enforcement of that
I was gonna-
policy. So it's
I was gonna say that
voluntary
I
and
think
there's
there-
no actual enforcement. So maybe that
no,
answers
no, I
my,
meant- sorry. No, I think I may have misspoke. I'm trying to say that the fact that we have such a policy is voluntary. I think no other retailer even has such a policy.
well,
Our
that's,
enforcement of that policy, we would treat that like any internal policy, and if we found that someone violated it, we would take action against them.
Why on earth would they compare your company to a drug dealer?
Sir, I have great respect for you in this committee, but I completely disagree with that characterization. What we have done is create in the store a place. If you go back in time, we sold only our own inventory. It was a very controversial decision inside the company to invite third-party sellers to come into what is really our most valuable retail real estate, our product detail pages. We did that because we were convinced that it would be better for the consumer. It would be better for the
Mr.
customer
Bezos,
to have all of
this
that
is-
selection. And I think we were right,
Yeah.
and I think it's worked out
We're
well for
claiming
the
my time.
customer, for the
Unfortunately, this is
third-party
one
seller,
of,
and for
reclaiming
myself.
my time, Mr. Bezos. This is one of many small companies that have told us during this year-long investigation that they were mistreated, abused, and tossed aside by Amazon.
Are stolen goods sold on Amazon?
Congresswoman, not to my knowledge, although we're more than 1 million sellers, and so I'm sure that there have been stolen goods
Really, Mr.
stolen on
Bezos?
Amazon.
Really, Mr. Bezos?
I'm sorry.
There's not? You don't believe that there
I
is? That
said-
surprises me.
No, I just said with over 1 million sellers, I'm sure that it has happened. But certainly, I don't think it's a large part of what we're selling.
Okay, so Mr. Bezos, basically then you're saying yes.
I guess so.